Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Castlevania 2, Lord of Shadows 2. Let's continue. Man, we took really about 30 minutes just to transition from the hub central area, it seems, to slightly outside of Zobek's castle. And all we got from torturing and capturing the boss of the chemical plant is that we need to go back to the chemical plant and see if there is some level of like we're looking for a vaccine, I suppose, for the poison that is turning all the humans in the modern timeline into monsters. Although it actually doesn't look like it's turning all the humans. It seems like it's got a conversion rate of about maybe only 2/3. This is a nice skybox and a nice moon, but there's definitely room to complain. And why are these red pipes everywhere? Like, this entire city seems to be infected with the... I'm just going to jump down here. Notice that they can't attack me while I'm collecting things. These monsters... This is kind of what I would want to see in a Castlevania game, is fighting a lot of enemies very consistently. You are converting it from a 2D Metroidvania into a 3D game. What's weird here, to me though, is that this is taking too much time to beat these people, which makes it seem like there's not a lot of content in this game. And the fact that we're going back to the same location we were in before, although we may be coming in from a different angle and a different doorway, so that might change some things for us. In fact, that might be my castle. Still don't have a double jump, so you gotta be kind of careful about jumping. No, that's not my castle. Yeah, I thought for a second that this would be just a passageway. There's also a lot of breakable crates and such still. And in these open worlds, we're still running into collectible art. So I'm thinking this game was not given a budget it probably deserved. Getting these collectibles, I suppose, are slightly helpful. I would also point out that even though we just got our chaos attack, it does not work. It is a pain in the butt to try and use, and now that attack that had the icon, I am not sure what that was supposed to indicate. Probably that there's some way to counter that. You know what I could do is I could see if I could do this and throw a bomb at somebody. So let's kill this guy and then throw a bomb. See how... yeah, that's not really doing enough. So I half suspect that by the time we even get back to the chemical plant, we may have in some internal metric leveled up, and these enemies that we're fighting now will stop being any challenge at all, which I guess I'm fine with that. There's still definitely some oddness and weirdness here because of you go one direction and there's a arena to fight people, and then you're kind of done with that. Alright. So I need the power to be shut off. And I guess I'm gonna do that with a blood thing. Okay. Just a standard blood dagger. Then we're back to Assassin's Creed style. And we want to collect everything here, even if we don't want to bother to read this. I'm not sure if these are going to end up being doorways or entrances to anything, or if this would end up being an entrance to anything. If they're trying to make an argument that these red tubes are some kind of power or plumbing or something like that, that seems odd. Like they're too big and they're just all over the city, and the city is already weird because in the basement underground is my castle. It's seemingly the entirety of my castle. Let's see, auto start when doors close.
Security door closed. Automatic shower beginning in 3, 2.
Now is this going to be poisonous water or just water? Seems like we're getting a cutscene here just to show a level loading section. Again, they're abandoning the idea that flowing water kills a...
Proceed to finalize. The doors will open.
Yeah, there's nothing here, and I'm playing as Dracula, so like I'm not gonna get freaked out by any of this. So yeah, there's really just a level loading section, but we're not going into the chemical plant immediately. That's nice to see. It seems like we're going to instead be in a creepy asylum of some sort. Which I am more than happy to look for collectibles inside of a creepy asylum. Then notice there's some bricked walls, windows. Who would actually bother to brick up windows? I see bats, but this feels like this is probably something that I've not quite... I didn't realize I needed to do, but whatever. We're turning into rats and maneuvering more, but I would argue we have gotten away from... Now how do I unturn myself into a rat so that I could use this pain box? Or I doubt they would have animated something where the rat could jump into the pain box, get eaten, and then that would work in my favor. So there's some other way in here. And then there's some glowing rat holes, which I guess are the only way we can go. Do these characters even care about rats? Yes, they do. I'm just gonna store right into the face of the demon. instead of trying to stealth up on the demons. Like, who cares if they see me? Yeah. That's just like a who cares scenario of why would I even think that stealth should be a part of this game. And it does kind of feel like the concept of stealth is being pretty much left out of the game going forward, and that this is going to be closer to a Castlevania style game in the fact that you're just going to be doing a lot of whipping and hacking and attacking. I clearly, however, missed collectibles on the higher section, so I assume I'm going the right direction, and I assume if I'm going to try and get 100% collectibles, which is kind of a big if, we will have to run through areas like this maybe multiple times. But I imagine we'll also have unlocked other abilities by that point. Those bats definitely do not need to be making a sound effect. Particularly if you're close to them. Alright, we are now fighting shielded vampires that we haven't fought those in a while. And we didn't have chaos attacks when we could fight them before. So these are the blood vampires from the past. So we have this weird combination of a weird combination of ancient in the past enemies and present enemies. Okay. Let's look around and see how much of this stuff can be broken. Let's break all of this. If I was to look here, we have one of these out of, I think, 3. This talisman that awakens the dragon, which we haven't used at all. We should try that. And we have no ensnared demons. So, you know, the danger though is I'm not sure if the ensnared dragon is something that I can only use once and then I need to get a new one from the shop, or if it takes a really long time to for it to occur. Alright, let's grab the paint box, which was spinning and facing a different direction and then very abruptly faced me for the animation. We'll get more artwork and no quick times, so we don't have to deal with any of this. I have no idea what this generator is doing, per se. Also, I just think I'm going to need to spin that and then flip the switch. And then I'll probably get a decontamination room unlocked and opened. Yeah, so we just turned power back on. Will power stay on in this area going forward? Probably. So maybe if I go back to that asylum area, at some point. It looks like I can jump high enough to get up there. And there's the edge of... Yeah, so double jump almost certainly would grab this. And we know this guy, we know that they've animated the ability to hold on to ledges. So the idea that he couldn't just grab onto any ledge and climb up is confusing, to say the least. Like, he's totally hanging from a ledge now. He's totally hanging from the edge of a ledge now. He totally can pull himself up with like one hand. So, like, no reason why I wasn't able to get up to that area other than the game did not want me to be able to get to that area. I assume that doors like that are not going to be openable by just breaking them. Remember, this is still giving me XP, while it may be an incredibly small amount of XP. The weird thing here, though, is, am I in a dungeon? Would you call this a dungeon? Or is this just an extremely long open world tunnel that will transition through several different times? I wish these guys would kind of run around more in a sequence like this so that I would break more things. This is actually a pretty great example of a fight in a complicated area with a bunch of breakable objects, but most areas have barely anything in them, and if they do have anything in them, they are on the very edge of the screen and usually about 20 steps away from where the enemies will actually walk. Am I supposed to be tapping something? Like, that felt like that was a quick time event for no reason. So there seems to be some kind of attack that I need to be aware of and be careful for. Like, yeah, and I kind of just have to wait till the next boss fight to unleash the dragon. And I doubt unleashing the dragon will cause the next boss fight to be just finished. There's something here. Some kind of plant texture that is just floating in the air. It looks like it's probably just a weirdly flat texture trying to be used in a 3D way. It's probably the same vines that are on the side here. But for a second there I thought that might be an indicator of some kind of invisible collectible, which if there are invisible collectibles in this game, we've not seen them, or not seen an outline or anything that would indicate that. This kind of feels like it has to be a dungeon because we've spent 50 minutes getting around, and the game is gonna feel ridiculously open world for no reason if we end up spending several hours of the gameplay wandering around from point A to point B, fighting just your standard level of enemies and it not building up to anything. This is another place where a shop could be. Do I want to go this way? Yeah, this feels like this is where we came out first time. And then we went through all of this. So we've gone in a full circle. And I never checked these for art or anything. This is kind of too narrow of a hallway to be doing this. The sword worked pretty well there. I feel like the first time we came through here, that door was closed. So, yeah, I don't know if that would be the case or not. And here's an elevator, and I guess that's what we were doing this whole time, is we were trying to just power the elevator, and so we had to go through this entire mini section of gameplay to power the elevator. Maybe this door was also closed. Over here there's a little bit more to collect, a little bit more to break, and I imagine with that layout, the way it looks, let's just go ahead and close and pretend like we're reading a lot of this. A lot of the backstory that's not being told in the form of any kind of voiceover, when frankly Konami should have spent the budget to have a voice actor read that out loud. It feels like there might even be, with a double jump, a way up there and a way up there to get some other collectible. If we ever do unlock a double jump, which I suspect we will. It also, I guess, the inside areas would still work if the entire world was upside down, but the outside areas wouldn't. That would make no sense at all. If that would be a cool trick, since that would be a reference to all the Castlevania games, is if the entire open world that we play in this game turns upside down. But in the open world, that would mean you would fall into the sky, and you'd have to figure some way to get from some sections to the other sections. I wish this animation did not have his whip glove glowing ever, and it just would show his hands, because the whip glove looks too much like the Chaos gauntlets. Yeah, if everything was upside down, I don't know how you would turn this. Alright, so yeah, that was a dungeon, I guess, or that was basically an open world equivalent to a dungeon. And just so far I don't see something that I would consider a boss. I'm just seeing a collection of enemies. And if I do these kills animations, I get probably maybe a little bit more humans in bug masks. Is this the Brotherhood?
Just this man here. He's not wearing
With
a gas
guns.
mask. I can see that. You'll have to come with us, sir. Hey, perhaps you didn't hear me, sir.
Giant cod pieces on these bug-like insects. I guess maybe this is just a modern military.
You're coming with us. Like it or not. Surround him!
Alright, so let's use this. How do you do this? No. Probably need to hit these guys hard and break their shields. But I want to do the dragon thing, and I don't know how I'm gonna get that. Maybe I can only do the dragon thing when I have a whip charge. So let's get these guys shields down on all three of them first. Alright, this one's got a kill on it, so nope, I lost that. I'm out of attack, so alright, let's go ahead and kill one of these guys. Well, there weren't any bit of combo I had. I'll just steal some health. Alright, so these are both stalled. Hit this guy. And see, you would think that would freak them out, at least the first time they saw you do that. Yeah, it seems like you get more experience by pressing the B attack than not. So, if you can do it, it will cost you, but it's probably better to do it that way. So, interesting. Dracula doesn't seem like he cares enough to interrogate these people either, so like he wouldn't really have any idea of who that was. So yeah, this is a bad character to have as your main protagonist or anti-hero. Yeah, because he's not asking the basic question that everybody would probably like to hear, which is, who are those people? What are they doing there? What's their intention? Is that the Brotherhood? Is that just the military? I'm kind of hoping halfway through this game we also just get enough experience to unlock all the skills, and then it stops being important to break things. But in a weird way, it may very well never stop being important to break things, because if the fights get longer and more difficult, we will run into scenarios where I'm using a bunch of items to win at the fight, and it's possible that that won't work well for me if I'm using 3 or 4 things. Oh, so apparently there's more to that collectible than what I thought. And this looks like it's an elevator. Oh, so I started here and went into a circle. If that is kind of just the end of That wasn't much of a boss fight, frankly. And I'm okay and even a little happy that the next boss fight after fighting the demon wasn't just fighting another demon. But that's kind of annoying that it didn't really challenge me as much as it should have. I'm hardly playing well in this game. I know I'm playing on easy. And still far too many. Yeah, it's just like a boss fight to introduce that now on the streets we'll be fighting with things that can shoot me. I think they are probably seeing me from up here. So yeah, they're just fighting each other. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're not actually killing each other. Well, they did kill each other, which means I just lost on the experience. And I can't absorb that energy from that direction. So the smarter move would have been to jump down there and kill everything myself. Alright. Where are we on items? So this thing, let's see, find all the ruins and complete the associated challenges is the only way to reach within the reach of a chosen few. However, there is a final condition for those brave enough to try. The Kaleidos only activates if the ancient words are written on the runes or read. However, as far as the chronicles know, the creature known as the Chupacabra is the only living being that speaks the foreign tongue. So it seems like there's 3 more runes at the minimum for this Kaleidos. And then we give it to the Chupacabra, and then maybe it unlocks something. Castlevania City is a weird idea. Really are taking this game in a weird direction. In all honesty, I would have been fine with a 3D open world castle where it was just a giant castle. But that's kind of not what we're doing here. Instead, you've filled the mastery container for a skill, transfer the content to the weapon to increase the mastery level and improve the performance in combat. So pressing this apparently has leveled up some stuff. And this attack is XXX in the air, and this attack is XXX on the ground, which is basically all I ever push. And there's nothing else. Apparently X and A I've pressed a couple of times. Meanwhile, in the air, press X. Also done some Y times 8 attacks. Somersault would be left trigger and A, and I've never even done that. Meanwhile, I guess this has been fulfilled. I feel like I wasn't capable of filling it up until this point. This would be YYY with the light magic. And then I've also filled out the chaos magic mastery level. I think the way you would go with this is you do probably just want to purchase all the skills here that you can. Let's, just in case you actually do it. So now we can do synchronized blocks and holding Y. Probably not a terrible thought, but I'll probably never use it. And in the air, holding Y is again probably not something I'll ever use. And that leaves us open to purchase this with $550 and this with $1,200 and this with $1,200, and that really may be all there is to purchase in the main attack. So even though I am being very OCD and looking around and trying to get as much experience as possible, it is helping in the long run, assuming that this does not, the Shadow Whip does not decide to unlock more skills or more levels. And I kind of assume that once we get the Shadow Whip mastered up, we'll do more damage, which opens the door to maybe a New Game Plus where we could kill enemies on easy with 1 hit or 2 hits. But I doubt we'd ever get to that point. Anyways, it is a very odd experience we're going through here. Every 30 minutes it feels like very little is done. This is totally a game that, had YouTube been more favorable to hour-long episodes, I would make hour-long episodes. But yeah, just not what we're doing right now. Maybe I'll eventually get determined to go back to doing that. Like, I think an hour consistently being evaluated versus 30 minutes of gameplay being evaluated really makes you take a pause and look and see we've barely moved anywhere. We've barely fought anybody. There was actually quite a lot of fights in this episode, but not of any real consequence. And the game is really stretching out every square inch of content, making the world a lot bigger than it needs to be. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can support me by friending me on Steam and gifting me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.